Kak Chandra. Right now for today's video, I am going to do a critical reading in the title Integrating Culture into ELT Classes. So what is ELT? ELT is English Language Teaching. I am going to share my thoughts toward this article, what I think about this article, but before that, I am going to state 3 points about this article, which is a justification, research questions, and also the findings of the questions. Hi, so the first one that we are going to talk is the justification of this research. So what is justification, right? Justification is related to why does this research have to be conducted. So it is because there's like a research or the previous studies always are more likely to focus on the grammatical items and also the lexical items of the language if it is related to the English language teaching. So this research is conducted in order to examine the awareness of this pre-service and also in-service teachers related to the involvement of culture into the language itself. So because they think that they found out that a language cannot be separated with the culture, or the culture takes a very important roles in the teaching, so they want to conduct this research in order to examine the awareness of the teachers. And then there's like three questions of the research. The first one is, do pre-service teachers in the Department of English Language of Pamukkale University think that cultural elements should be included in language teaching? If so, which cultural elements should be included? And then the second one is, do the English language instructor at Pamukkale University School of Foreign Languages think that cultural elements should be included in language teaching? And if so, which cultural elements should be included? And then the last one is, do the views of pre and in-service teacher differ on teaching culture in EFL classes? Well, the answer, or the last point of this research, is the findings of the questions. So both pre-service and in-service teachers in Pamukkale University thinks that cultural elements should be included in language teaching, and they want to include 45 instruments that are examined in this research, which are grouped into 9 major groups. They want to include all the cultural elements into the language teaching. They think that learning English is just like cannot be separated with the culture, so they both agree on that. The answer for question number 3 is they do not differ. They're not different. The answer are basically very similar. So we are going to talk about my thought toward this article, but before that, I would like to say that I totally agree with the statement of the article that states learning languages cannot be separated with culture. Totally right. But there are like 2 questions. The first one is that possible to include 45 elements of culture into the English language teaching? I think no. Why is that? The first one, it's because it consumes so much time, since learning with a colloquial English is always like related to the videos, YouTube videos, songs, movies, something like that. So the next problem will be like, when do the students learn about the grammatical items and also the lexical items of the languages? Well, if you say that it is not important, the truth is the goals of our educational system is always related to the test. Either it is final test or TOEFL test, maybe IELTS test. In order to pass the school, the students have to pass the test first, the final test of the English, or they have to pass like TOEFL test for enrolling in university in Europe or Australia. So it means that if you want to include the culture into the curriculum, you have to change the curriculum first. You have to change the objective of the learning itself. If it is still oriented with like the test, it will be like disaster for the students, because they will like run out of time learning about the grammatical items and lexical items, which is very complicated, since colloquial English and also English that are used in the test or that is related to the material is just like totally different. So I think like that's the first point that I am going to state. So we're jumping to the second point of my thought toward this article. So the question is, what is the solution of this problem, right? Colloquial English is very important. Yes, that is right. Learning languages cannot be separated with culture of the language. It is right. And also, we have to pass the test. That's the trouble here. Well, I think like I'm going to say it as like from my perspective as a student who learned English since I was a kid. I think like it goes back to the students itself. So the teacher here should act like a motivator and also a facilitator. What I mean here is the teacher should convince the students. I mean, like, they have to tell the students that, hey, you know, the colloquial English is very important and it's very different from the English language that we are learning in school. So you have to learn it by yourself. For example, like watching movies in English subtitles and then listening to some English songs, and basically make yourself get used to English languages. So after that, if the students are like fully aware about this fact, they would like make an effort to it. So maybe they would like watching some movies, and if they do not understand about a thing that they found in movies, they can ask their teacher. So that is why I said that teacher can act like a facilitator. So that's the thing that the students can do in order to be able to speak colloquial English and also to be able to pass the final test. So the last thing that I would say, this article is very good. It convinced the readers to think that learning languages cannot be separated with the culture of the language, which means that if there is like a student with this, they will like understand about this and they will like fully aware about this situation. But unfortunately, this article doesn't give like, you know, the real situation of our educational system. It doesn't give the problems that we are actually facing in our real world related to the tasks that the student have to pass. For example, like TOEFL, IELTS, final tests in the school, something like that. So if the readers read these articles, I hope that the readers can think critically about what is the values that can be taken from this article. I think that's all about for today's videos. Please keep in mind that I am not an expert, I am a student. So I just share my thought to you about this article. So if you guys have any thought about my thought or about this article, please comment down below. And goodbye.